Hey kiddos, thank you for joining me here today. Now I'm doing a collaboration with Eileen over at the Hearts DIY. This girl is absolutely the sweetest thing. I know you're going to like her too. She does some great projects. Now her link is down in my comments. So go down there, make sure when you finish my video and you like and subscribe. Wink, 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 if you're new here. You go over and you tell Eileen that I sent you over there. She is just so sweet and has the most precious voice and just so calm and relaxing to listen to. I know you're going to love her. She's just adorable. Let's get started with our Valentine projects today. Now, these 3 Valentine projects I placed on my coffee bar, and at the end of the video, you'll get to see the whole thing together. I hope you like it. Please like and share. Thank you.
All right, so first thing you're going to need is you're going to need one of these little 2-foot trees, the ones that you can get at Christmas time, or sometimes you can use the Easter tree. Just a little white tree would have been cute too. Now I use some of those, I've got all different things here, and I'll go through them as I put them on. These little heart lights, they're only about 3 foot long, and of course you need to put your own batteries in them. And sorry about the bouncing tree, so I just put them on the front of the tree because there's not really enough of them to wrap all the way around. So if you wanted it good coverage, you'd need probably 2 or 3 sets. So I just used mine to kind of go in a zigzag pattern in the front of the tree because it's sitting up against the back of my, so the back isn't showing on the Christmas tree because it's sitting up against my wall on my coffee bar. Now, these are what they call vase scatter or filler. And what I did was I used about 6 or 8. I can't even remember how many I wound up using. Not very many. I think it was 6 of the blue or of the red and then 6 of the pink. And I just cut a strip of ribbon that's about, I think it was anywhere from 4 to 5 inches long. And I cut enough for each one of those. You can loop it around and make it a loop so that it hangs, just barely hangs on the thing. You don't want it to be too long or you'll be adjusting them. Now I'm taking my pinking shears because that's the only fabric scissors that I own really, and I'm cutting through here. I'm getting impatient and trying to cut all of them at once, which I shouldn't have done. I should have, if I'd had, more time, but I was in a hurry. So I'm trying to cut it. Each piece, I think I wind up making them about 3 inches wide. And once I get them all cut, then later on in the thing, I'll show you that I'm going to tie them in knots to each other so that it comes out more like a ragged string. And it really turned out cute like that. I like rustic, and so that kind of made it more rustic in the end. So here I go. Hopefully I'm almost done. Yay! Now then, I'm going to take these hearts and I'm going to use these felt ones first. And I don't use the red hearts in here because the tree is already red. Now, if I had a white tree, I would have used the red instead of the white. You see what I'm saying? You want the contrast. So my tree is going to be red, white, and pink. And so I'm taking those little pink hearts, and those also came with some little plastic gemstones. I didn't use them on all of them, but I did put like 1 on each one. And I just hot glue them to the thing. These would be perfect for a kids to make Valentines for kids in their class. They were so adorable. And I think each package had enough to make 10. So you would need probably 2 packages for most kids' classes. And then I don't even put a string on these because there's a circle, so you can just put them through the branch and leave them on the tree. And it made it pretty easy to control. Now, if you had a bigger tree, you might want to put a loop on them and let them hang down. So I thought they were super cute for, $1 for 10. If my tree had been white, I could have used both, I guess, both colors on there. So I took this heart sign, and there were 5 of these attached to it, and then the welcome was the first one. So I'm going to use part of this sign. I'm just going to take the pink and red one because that's the colors of my tree, and then I'm going to take one of those red felt hearts from that package of white circles, and I'm going to put clothespins on the back of it first, I guess. I thought I put the heart on there. I'm having trouble seeing with it tonight. Anyway, so I put the clothespins on the back because I'm going to use that like you do the star on your tree, except I'm using it as the heart on the top of the tree. So I just thought that was kind of a cute idea. And honestly, you only need one paper clip. You don't need two, or not paper clip, clothespin. And those did come from the Dollar Tree, those clothespins, over in the Crafters Square section. And I just take one of the other felt hearts, the red ones, and glue it to the side, hot glue it to the side, and I thought it turned out super cute, and in the end you'll be able to see. Now these little hearts are the wooden ones I was telling you about, and I'm only going to use the red and the pink, and then I hot glued ribbon to them just like I did the scatter hearts. Now here I'm going to show you how I'm making my garland for my tree, and that was where I just made like a little rag garland is what it is. So I tied 3 knots. I tied 2 pieces together, and then in the middle of each piece I tied a third knot. So it goes, you know, you tie them in, and then you, what am I trying to say? Hello, getting tired here. So I tie them together, and then in the middle of the open piece I tie another knot so that it's not just kind of floating around, and it gives it a little more weight. There you go, you can see it. Maybe if I'll slow down a minute. And I had enough with that just piece of scarf, because I didn't even have a whole scarf, because I used part of it on that other ladybug garland, which will remind you here in the middle when we get to the end of this video what I'm talking about if you didn't see the earlier videos. So I just wrap it around like a garland, like you would, you know, Christmas garland, and I put the big heart at the top of the tree, and then now I'm just going through my ornaments that I made and adding them to the tree, decorating my tree. Well, I kind of skipped to the end so you wouldn't have to watch that bouncing tree. Now here she comes. Isn't her pretty? I'm loving her, and she looks perfect on my coffee bar. All right, now we're going to start the red truck, and this one is from the Valentine section. You could use just any of the other ones. You're going to need Waverly black ink. You're going to need some wood pieces, and those could be the Jenga blocks. They could be the Crafter Square blocks. Just something on the back side of each of those tires to glue it to those 2 boxes. So right now I'm hot gluing the 2 boxes together, and then I'm going to paint it with the Waverly ink paint, Waverly chalk paint ink color. And so I hot glued, just went around the edges and hot glued it. It doesn't need to be just, you know, completely perfect, you know, because it's going to be covered up with paint and glitter here in just a minute. So right now I am gluing these paint sticks because that's all I had is these paint sticks. So I stack them up. I cut me 3 of them and stack them up and then hot glue them together so that I'll have enough space to have something to glue the back of the tires to the truck and then the truck to the box. So I'm going to paint the boxes, and then I'm going to paint the little wooden pieces black all the way around. Okay, so I'm cutting the string off, and I'm going to save that for later because I'm going to use it on to tie the bow together with. I'm going to put the Mod Podge all over the black box, and I'm going to use this chunky hot pink glitter that I got from Target. The lid is a little bit funky on them compared to others, but since it's a chunky glitter, you know, they can't just have a sprinkler. So this one's got like a bigger hole, and you have to turn the top around and then cut or poke the sticker sheet. It's like a piece of tape in there, and then once you pull it out, you can sprinkle the glitter all over. Now some of the glitter is going to get stuck on there, and you're going to have to redo it. I'm just going all over the top of this and the sides with the chunky glitter. Here in a minute you're going to see me pick up some red, and it's from Michaels, but you could use the Dollar Tree red or the Walmart red if you already have those colors in glitter. All those reds are pretty much exactly the same. The ultra fine glitter is what this red is, and Walmart does have a red ultra fine, and it's really pretty. I used it on a ton of cups, and you'll like it just as much as you do the Michaels one. Plus, I think that jar with your 40% off coupon is like $6, and the smaller one from Walmart is $2.50 or $3.50. So it is less glitter, but more than likely, unless you're doing cups, you're not going to need that much glitter. Now, I'm just going on there and spreading it, and then I kind of tap it down with that little spatula. That is my Cricut tool, and I absolutely use that thing for everything. It is just, it's a pry bar, it'll cut. I love it. Now I'm going to take Mod Podge and I'm going to only put the chunky glitter on the red truck part. I'm not going to put it on the tires, the windows, or what's in the back of the truck. As you can see, I'm just kind of putting it on there so that it has that hot pink on the red truck too. And then I will take my fingers and pat it down. I don't know if I show that in the video, but I do kind of like rub it in to the Mod Podge to make sure it sits. Now on the windows you can see it right there, but I'm going to take the spatula or dry brush and knock it off the window. See, I got a little piece there, and I think I'm gonna just scrape it off. And it, I didn't get any glue on it, so it was probably just a floater piece, which is, those extra pieces of glitter that you get sometimes. Now these little gems I got off of that fuzzy red truck. You could use any little hearts that you wanted. You wouldn't even have to use any hearts on there. This I just had, and I was like, oh, I need those little heart rhinestones. So I took them off of there and put them on the truck. And I thought it turned out so cute. Again, look at that little spatula. It just does everything for me. I put one on the headlights, and I put one on the door handle. One on each of the tires, and then I just kind of spread them around on the top. Now I'm hot gluing them down. I guess I thought I already did that. Shows me how much I know. Anyways, let's see if I can get them all hot glued down. Then we'll put this truck together. All right, so the little black paint sticks are already glued down to the two little black boxes. Here in a minute, I'm going to show you that I am going to glue the tires to the paint sticks from behind, and I'm just putting it on the front of the paint sticks edge, and then I'm going to hold the truck to that super tight until I think it's set, which is longer than what this looks like, because this video, I know it doesn't seem like it, but it is speeded up 2 times the rate that it normally would be. So I'm just putting an extra layer along the top on the back side so you can't see it, just to give it a couple more places to hold it still. Now I'm going to take this ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make a little scatter bow, or I think that's what we're going to call it, a little shabby bow, I guess, maybe. And I think I cut about 4 of these in about 5-inch sections. And then I'm going to, I didn't flag the ends, but I cut them in a diagonal angle on each one. And then I first am going to use that string. Like I said, I was going to use that, that was the holder for the truck before, and then I changed my mind at the last minute, and I just tie the pieces in a knot. And when I get ready to put them on there, I'm going to put them over the right side hole on the truck. And then I'm going to just glue one of those little heart-shaped gems in the middle of the knot. And there, now I'm actually cutting each end of the bow, or the ends of the bows, to make it look pretty. So now I'm going to magically cover up this hole again. And how I do that is I put a little hot glue in there and then I just sprinkle some glitter over it. That's it. That's the secret to covering up a hole. Especially if you use glitter, you can just, it's like hole filler now. Now here it is on my coffee bar, and I thought it turned out adorable. I really like these red trucks. Alrighty, now we're going to get started on our last project. You're going to need 2 of these wooden hearts, 1 of those styrofoam hearts, and then the rest of that sign that we used in the first project decorating the tree. You're going to use, I think, 3 out of the 4 of those. Now then, first thing I do is cut, of course, the strings off the hearts. All 3 hearts had them on there. This styrofoam one did the exact same thing as I did with the truck hole. I put some hot glue in there and I filled it full of glitter. Couldn't even tell it. You could also cover it with some ribbon if you didn't have that. It would work just fine. Now this, I took apart like I did the other one, and I pulled back as far as I could and cut the strings off the back of it so that they wouldn't show from the front. It took a little bit because that tape on the back of them is some good tape, let me tell you. So I used the welcome, and I used the XOXO and the white polka dots. I saved the other one for another project. Now I'm just doing placement here. I finally figure out that I put the bottom of the wood hearts at the green thing to use it for, what do I call that? I used it for placement so that I would make sure that those wooden hearts were even, because I wanted them even, but I wanted them to overlap. So you can see the 2 points are at the bottom, and I just kind of fold it up like a little book there, put a gob of hot glue on it, and then I lay it down and mash on it pretty good. Yep, there it is. Mushed it down there, and then I'm going to paint it with the white chalk paint, of course, and that is the Waverly white chalk paint. So whenever I quit fussing with this paper, and by the way, I get this paper at Walmart in the painting section. It's $3.50 a roll, and I think it has over 100 foot on it. I've had it for a long time. I've used it when I was painting my house a year ago, and all these projects, pretty much every project I have, I use this paper so that I don't get paint on everything. Now, there I go. Look at that, putting hot glue in there just like you would the spackle. And then I take my credit card and I just scrape it off. And you could have took a cold piece of metal and it would have scraped it off just the same, edge of your scissors, just something flat. And I paint all the way around the edges, so make sure that I get it good and painted. And a few places I did have to put a second coat. Now, I thought I was going to be all suave and make this thing all distressed with some red crimson paint, and I just messed it up. I'm just going to let you know right now, it did not look right. It looked like there was a bloody massacre, so I went back and painted it all white again. Now I'm going to take that styrofoam heart, and you should not use a hot glue gun on this. It did start to melt it, and so I let my glue gun cool down a little bit, and then I put some on the sides to go ahead and glue it down, and I even actually kind of blowed on it to cool the glue off before I stuck it down to that styrofoam heart. What the world? So now I'm taking these popsicles. No, they're not popsicle sticks. These are ends of those paint sticks. And actually, I think I do use popsicle sticks on this one. 2 popsicle sticks equals the thickness of a paint stick, if you needed to know. I want them to pop up off of the thing. I didn't want them to be flat. You'll see that I do that a lot. I like to elevate different elevations, give things shadows, and just make them look more, I don't know, popped up, I guess. Anyway, I like it. I do a lot of that with my scrapbooking. That's what pop dots are for, and that's kind of how I use these wooden sticks, is like pop dots. So if you're familiar with scrapbooking, then you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you watch me a little while, you'll figure out what I'm doing. I'm trying to give it an extra element by popping it up off of the background. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that's it. All right, so now I let these hang off the sides, again, to just give it some more interest, and it makes my sign bigger, and I'm all about that. So I take some of the scatter hearts or filler hearts that I had already, and I put them up closer to the top of those hearts. Now this is this binding ribbon that I bought. Now you could use, it's got like 100 yards on there for $9 or $10. I think Christy over at Christy Creates just bought it off of Amazon. Hopefully, maybe I can get the link to that and I can put it on there. I just make me a really simple bow and put it on there. Here in a minute, I'm going to make me some big pom-pom bows. You're going to see and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, she's making cheerleader bows. But anyways, so I have this white gross grain. I always say it funny, so I try to stop and pronounce my words. And I didn't cut it very long. I didn't want it to be so long that it hung way up there, so I was trying to cut it a little bit shorter. I might have made it a little bit short. So I think maybe if y'all are doing it, maybe make it longer than I did. I had to, I burnt the edges first because I knew it was going to be hard getting it through that wood because I'd painted them holes and I didn't want to have to repaint those holes by scratching it out of there. So, which probably wouldn't even showed, but I just tied a knot on each end and left about an inch tail on each one. This one, it had a lot of product in it, but it was the easiest project I did the whole time. I don't know why this one was so much easier, but it sure the heck was. It went really quick when I started putting it together. There, see, I'm just going to tie a knot and scoot it back up there. All right. Now I'm going to make the pom-pom bows, as I was calling them, the cheerleader bows. Oh, I'm covering up a hole. Look, another hole covered with glitter. Imagine that. I'm getting pretty good at covering those holes with glitter. I don't know what's going to happen after Valentine's Day and Christmas Day is over and I ain't getting to use my glitter no more to cover up holes. That's going to be a bad deal, huh? So I took this, I'm going to call it a 12-inch ruler, clear ruler that I use for scrapbooking. My friend Vicky, Miss Vicky, gave it to me. And she sells this over at Creative Memories, I believe, is what the name of those products are. She sells these on her website, but she gave me one during a crop that I went to in this last fall, and I cut, I believe there is 4 or 5 whites, 12 inches long, and then there is 4 red, I believe. Now, you could do it anything you wanted. You could add the pink to it, but this one was red and white, so I tried to stick to the red and white theme. And I'm just, see how I'm just crossing them back and forth, and then I'm going to tie the bottom one up and tie it in a knot, and that's all there is to that. I was just pretty impressed. So when I do put them on there, and I go in, see, there's one. Now I'm going to do the next one. I don't think I show you that, hopefully. No, I guess I did. No, I didn't. All right, so now I'm going to show you tying them on. And what I did was I just pulled that knot out and tied them on there, tied it in front of that knot. I tried tying it from the back, but then the bows were on the back side instead of on the front. So I just tied it around there. And because that seam binding ribbon is so thin, it didn't even hardly leave a knot. Now, here's the final product, and I think I'm done here. Woo-woo, look at me. I'm going to do a little dance here in a minute. Yay, maybe I will. Oh no, I got to trim all these bows. So I have to trim them all and give them a little slant. Ooh, look at me, I'm dancing. Imagine that. Usually when I'm doing this, I've got rock music playing as loud as I can, and my daughter's like, oh my gosh, the 80s. But, you know, she'll live over it. Now, here is the final one. I've hung it up in the living room, and then you can see all of it together on my coffee bar. Now, some of those projects are from the video, a couple of videos back, so you definitely want to check those out if that's something you like. And up above, you can see the ladybug one. I hope y'all like this. It was a lot of fun to do, and I love decorating my coffee bar.
I just wanted to tell Eileen over at the Hearts DIY, thank you so much for collaborating with someone as small as my channel. It was so much fun, and meeting you and sending texts back and forth to you. You're just the sweetest person. And I know that everybody here, when you go over to Eileen's channel, you're going to know how sweet she is. She's just the sweetest. You're going to love her projects, and you're going to love all the things that she's doing over there. She's adorable. Now, you can find her link down here. I really like pointing down and going, ooh, it's down here in the comments. Anyway, I don't know why. It's just, you know, one of those YouTube things that everybody does, and I like doing it. So, now y'all know what a goofball I am. Anyways, if you had a good time here today, I hope you like and subscribe and come back and see me again. I'm hoping to do one more video tomorrow, which is Saturday. And that is with Indie Annie Jones over on her channel. And it's a fairy tale challenge. So it has something to do with kids, I'm sure, or maybe not. But some of the crafts are going to be super fun. And I hope that you join in and look at the playlist. She's going to have a playlist where you can just go down. And mine is very fairy tale girly. So it was so much fun doing it. Now, I guess I'll see you guys either back here, or you can send me some comments, and I love to answer you, especially if you have something you want to ask me, or just to make a comment. I love talking to all of you, so please comment for me and tell me what you're doing, if nothing else. Now, okay, well, maybe later. All right,